Yesterday, I finally bit the bullet and I bought OpenAI Codex. I paid them $200 to see, like, is this any good? Is this going to be useful for me? So I spent the whole day. I had like 10 or 15 pushes, pull requests and stuff that I published, which is great. It's very impressive. And then Copilot, they dropped their Copilot agents yesterday evening. And I was like, fuck, that's crazy. So I got both of them. I bought the other one, which is because the Copilot one is a lot cheaper. I bought both of them, and I'll show you, what they are, what kind of. We'll have a short look at the quality of the code. Like, is it worth it? How do they work? What are kind of tiny little things that make it a little annoying or good or not? So that's what I wanted to talk about. Maybe first, if you're just here for the question, is it worth it? I think the answer is pretty simple. It's yes. Why is it so simple? I mean, I don't even think you need to see reviews of these things. Even if it's $200 per month, think about that. 20 working days per week. 20 working days per month. Some of us. Some of us. It's maybe with this AI. Okay, but as a normal person, you worked 20 days per month, and so that's $10 per day. It's like what, $1.2 per hour. Can you charge 1.2 hours dollars per hour more if you have OpenAI Codex? Well, obviously. I mean, that's not a question. And then the GitHub one is like $38 per month, so it's ridiculous. Like, you have infinite junior coders, and it's definitely not going to solve all your problems. The things I've been enjoying with both of these tools the most are the use cases where it's like, yeah, these are kind of little things that are annoying me, that are reducing the quality of my code, but they're not that important. They're not breaking. They're not complex or difficult to fix. But it's not worth my time. I should spend my time fixing more critical issues or implementing more important features. The things that have been put on the side because of that reason, this is an excellent use case for that. Especially Codex. I'll show you, like, the interface with Codex is really great, especially for things like side projects. I'm just on a walk, or I'm literally in the gym between sets, and I have this idea like, oh, I should put this in my app. So you just open the ChatGPT. Well, you cannot see that. Well, you open ChatGPT on the phone, and there's a Codex thing there, and you just click new task, and then you might even just pull up the dictation, and you dictate what you want it to do. You send it off, and then by the time you get home, you can look at the code and see if it's any good, leave remarks, create a pull request, and then actually merge it with your code. One thing I've been very impressed with in this whole thing is actually Gemini Code Assist. So I'll show you that as well. But let's dive into and let's have a look at Codex. So this is Codex. It's literally chatgpt.com/Codex. These are all the things that I've been building, and you see there's a bunch of stuff merged and a bunch of stuff closed. So right off the bat, let me talk a little bit about the setup of Codex, because that has some finicky, slightly annoying things. In Codex, you have to set up an environment for each of your projects. So an environment is linked to a repository, and you see there's a bunch of tasks linked to each of them. And when you go in here, example petals, this one, I'll go edit this. It's a repository. It's just an internal description. You pick a container image. So this is cool that custom images are coming soon. They're not there yet. I don't know what this is. Oh yeah, you can pick the versions of things. Okay, that's interesting. So and then you can set environment variables and secrets. I suppose they both show up as environment variables. But okay, then there's a setup script here, and the caveat here is this little thingy at the bottom. Internet is disabled after the setup script runs. Okay, what does this mean? This means that while it's coding, while it's building things, it doesn't have access to the internet. It also doesn't have access to like running something like Docker. And so this is the only place where you can do things like install packages. If you want to have it make something that adds a new package, it cannot do it, because the actual thing that's writing the code, that's working on a task, does not have access to the internet. So that's like a little nuisance, annoyance. For example, my app isn't properly set up for testing, and so it would easily fail because it's like, oh, I can't spin up this database, and I cannot set it up either to connect to an external database if I would wanted that. So I need a different way of doing that so that the tests properly work. So that's Codex. okay, so I'll show you the way this works, right? This is very, very simple. It is very much ChatGPT. I describe a task. Which app do you want to work on? I can do something very, very simple, like find one bug that degrades user experience and fixes it. I think this is a great thing to, I hope we would have automations very soon, because I think this is like usually something like this, a very vague thing, usually just kind of brings up a very small issue and a small bug, but still you fixed the bug. So I don't think it's bad to have this run on a schedule every night. I mean, it would definitely be useful. And I'm just seeing it on my phone. It pops up exactly as if this is like a deep research query on the ChatGPT on my phone. So that's interesting. Okay. That's how Codex works. How does it work in the GitHub Copilot agents? Maybe for you to know if so you need the Pro Plus plan right now. And then to enable it, you need to go to here, your Copilot, and then there's a new thingy, Coding Agents Preview. You just need to make sure that it's enabled for your repository. So I have it on all my repositories, so it's everywhere. Then what you would do is you would create an issue. This is like this is the really nice thing about the Copilot agent. It's the workflow is very similar. It's just, it feels like you're working with like a real human that's there, just a virtual other person developer. So I just described this. I would like to have this planner plugin. This is in my chat app, petals.chat. Use it. It's really good. It has a really good memory. It remembers everything you're talking about, and it helps you create really good personalities for your assistants. And there's MCP server support, which I haven't basically seen anywhere else on like a web application. But anyways, I wanted this planner plugin, which is like, I want this assistant to be able to write their own to-do list and that they can track it and see how far they are. So I described this and I created an issue for it. What I can do now is I can assign Copilot. There we go. And once I've done that, I assigned it. You see that there's like little eyes. Okay, it's like, okay, we're working on this. And you see that it created a draft pull request. And it's in draft while it's working on it. And so I think you can see the session here. You can see what it's working on. So it starts up a new environment. Now, the environment thing with Copilot was a lot easier. I didn't have to do anything. It just figured it out. It also has internet access during development. There's like a firewall, so I think it's pretty limited what it can access. But it's nice because it will actually be able to pull in packages and install new packages. Once that's done, it'll finish up its pull request. So let's see, for example, this one. Only send daily messages to active users. And so it says here, firewall rules blocked me from connecting to... it was checking for a firmware update. So this is a good thing where you see like this is definitely not perfect. So at some point this AI decided that, well, it's probably a firmware issue on my computer. Like, bro, that is not going to be any of the issues you're facing with implementing this. Okay, but it requires a review from me, and I can go in here and read these things. I can leave a comment, I can start a review, and then it goes back and it fixes those things, which is really amazing. Like, this is really amazing. Let me see one that I've closed, which has a bunch of comments. Does this one have a bunch of comments? No. So it's 5, but this is Codex. Codex. Probably in the other repo. Let's see here. Pull requests. Or maybe it's the one that's still open. Yeah, 11. There you go. So it left a comment, and I'm like, no, change this to 7, please, instead of 20. And just remarks. This is really, really good. It implements this. It pushes new commits, and that's actually amazing. That's amazing. And you can actually still ask Copilot to review it, and it'll go and review its own code. So that's pretty interesting. Okay. For the Codex one, I've installed Gemini Code Assist. So when I push this, let's do this. Let's look at this. When I push this, there's Gemini Code Assist, and it's like, look, all right, I'm looking at this. I'm having this code review, and it leaves remarks. Gemini Code Assist is remarkably good. I was very surprised by the quality of these things. It's like, well, you changed this, but that's going to break the other thing on the other side. Are you sure you want to do it this way? That's amazing. Now, the workflow around it with Codex is a lot more annoying because when I finish this feature here, so I have this, once this is done, then I would do create pull request, and that creates a pull request. Then we have this Gemini thing, in my case, reviewing it, or I might review it as well. But then how do you get it back into Codex? The only thing you can do is kind of take this, you just copy it. That's what I do. I just copy this and I put it back into Codex, and then it'll actually go and fix it. But then it doesn't update the pull request. It doesn't push it to the same branch. Instead, the only thing you can do is create a new pull request, which is super annoying because then you have to close the other one and your whole history becomes a mess. I mean, I think I can show this to you. Foreclosed. There's like a bunch of stuff that were closed that were related to the same thing. This is CLI, this CLI thing. It's the same thing. And I think there's another pull request for the same thing. So that's very, very annoying. And I mean, I hope they'll fix this. I don't think this is a big thing to change on OpenAI's side. But you can see how, at least if you're using GitHub, the GitHub Copilot one is a lot more integrated. It's really well done. Okay. Let's look at the quality of the code. There's one that I made that was quite challenging. So let's see if this one. You see here, I was like, let's give it a challenge. I put this in, I put my dictation on, and I was just explaining. And there's so many transcription errors. I called aquarium points from the memory just in, LOM. I don't LLM is what I was saying here. BullMQ instead of BullMQ. So there's a bunch of just transcription errors, and I was curious, like, let's assign Copilot and see what it does. And then I did the same thing here. I copy pasted this. Let's try and find it. There we go. That's this one. So here in Copilot, I did exactly the same thing. I just pasted it in there. And I left some comments. Yeah, so you can leave comments here as well. I don't know why I cannot see the comments again afterwards. That's a little annoying, but I'm sure they'll fix it. So the code generated by both, I liked the one from Copilot more than the one from Codex, because at some point here I was asking, you need to do this background search and then cache it. And then for some reason, Codex decided that it should be saved in the database. I'm like, that's not what I asked for. I didn't want this to be in the database. That doesn't make any sense. Just cache it, okay? And I did that, and it changed it. But Copilot seemed to have figured out a bunch of that a little better. I also left comments here like, I don't use any. Please don't use it. I don't want you to do it. It means that you're writing shitty code. Probably. So yeah, in terms of the quality so far of the code, I feel like it's not a huge step up if you've been using things like O4 Mini High or even O3, or Gemini 2.5 Pro inside of your editor. It's better at tackling whole code-based things. Like, it will actually take time to go through and look at many different things, where sometimes if you're just using it in the editor with a plugin, it will kind of stop after a few files, or it doesn't have enough, let's say, gas in the tank to do like 20, 30, 40, 50 different tool calls to read all of those different files. That's something where this is a lot better at. I've used it for like code-wide changes across the code base. For example, if you're using React, you have your React query, and I had the query keys kind of inline in the components everywhere, and I didn't want that. I was like, everything should have a custom query options thingy. So please refactor all of it. And it did that, and it did that really well. There were barely any issues. So that's really great. I think that is a really great use case for this. The code is good. I haven't given it really, really difficult things. For this one, that what I was just showing, I had a bunch of comments on both of their implementations. So it's pretty much what you expect at this point. If there's a lot of thinking, if it's not super precise, then it'll still struggle a little bit. Now, I've seen both of them implementations. That actually inspired me to have a better idea of what I want from this feature. So I will actually go back in and rewrite the requirements that I want to be more precise and to actually describe what I want to have there. And I think this time it will do a much better job, and I don't have to go back and forth with the whole feedback. I've also noticed one time in Codex, I have used Codex a lot more, so I have a lot more to complain about. I noticed that I was asking it to make one UI change, and then I'm like, no, change the other thing as well. And then it did that, and then it reverted the original things. I'm like, where bro, where did the first thing go? That was good. And then it decided to go look at the Git log of the commits, but it hadn't made a commit before, so there was not anything there really. And so there's a bunch of weird things. It still feels very much like these tools are kind of brute forcing your code changes. When you look into the history of what it actually is doing, there's so much things that you're thinking like, what's going on here? And of course, there's one thing which I hope will come very soon, is that when we are working in an IDE. We have our language servers, we have the type checking that's happening as we go, whereas for these AI models, that feedback loop is very slow. Right? It takes a long time before they can, let's actually finally run the lint checker to see if anything is off. Or like we are using our autocomplete to know so much things, right? When I do open curly braces in TypeScript, I know what the content of this object can be, and these AI systems aren't using that yet. I think that is kind of the next big thing to close that feedback loop and to have the language server integrated in those environments so that the AI agent can properly and more quickly and more safely write code instead of having to write huge blocks and then fixing all of it at the same in one go. So those are my initial comments and what I saw from it. I'm very happy I have them because there's so much more I'm actually shipping now. It's insane, and I can just fire things off while I'm out on a walk because that's when I have the ideas. So vibe coding is over. We just have shower coding now, where you come up with your best ideas and you let the thing build while you're waiting. So yeah, thank you for watching. Let me know your comments. If you have an open source repository that you want me to contribute to, hey, let me know. I got the Codex thing. I'll fire it off on whatever you want. So let me know, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.